What's up, guys? Welcome to the third episode of What's in the Box. What's in the box? Today we have Chris Sebok, creator of Subnet. It's a parkour hack game. Pretty cool. We have some questions for him. If anybody has questions inside the Twitch, please let us know. Just throw them out there, and he'll try to answer them. Today I have Andy and Mr. Aaron himself. Andy, which I call Brawley from my gaming community.
Yeah.
Chris, thank you for being here again, as I told you before. Let's jump into it. First off, this Twitch channel is all about indie games, indie developers, and what they're making. We try to support them 100%, try to get them their goal if they're doing a Kickstarter, if they're doing a Greenlight. We just want to get them as much publicity as possible. These games are awesome that I've seen. Chris's game is awesome. So thank you for being here, all the viewers. You guys help us out. If you haven't, follow, and make sure you check our Twitter and stuff like that. Okay, Chris. All right, we're going to hound you with questions.
Stuff I like to talk a lot, as you already know.
First off, Chris, I wanted to know, I asked every indie this, is how did you get started with indie game development? If you could go into more of that.
Yeah, well, originally I started out with my a very good friend of mine. Well, I actually approached him on Skype one day, and I just said, where do I need to start? You know, because he was doing like JavaScript browser games and stuff. And I said, where do I need to start? Because I've got an idea for a game. And he kind of pointed me at Unity because he knew that I was a Microsoft developer. I knew C#, and that was the main connection that it made. And it just went from there, really. We kind of just bounced loads of ideas off each other about this initial idea I had. And then it within a couple of months kind of turned into this crazy mental game that it's this huge project that you need loads of people for, you know.
That's crazy. And how long have you been doing this, or Subnet, for?
Started around June or July last year.
Oh, wow.
Started getting people on board about September, because previous to that it was very much like between June and September it was like, what am I doing? Learning Unity? What's this about? What's a vector? You know, what's vector? I didn't even know what vector maths were then. You know, I had no idea how 3D space worked. So it was just completely blank slate. You know.
That's pretty crazy. That's really impressive to start from last year and now, because I've watched your dev blogs and stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty sick. That's amazing, man. That's
taken a long time to get it there. Like, it feels like a long time. I know it doesn't sound like a long time, but I've been doing it every second that I'm awake, you know.
Well, you said you have a job and you're doing this on the side, like and you have like family, so that's like you're taking. That's just crazy to think about, you know. Like, I'm young and like I don't have a family yet or something like that. So to see someone doing something that they passionately love and they like this game, that's pretty crazy. But I think everybody knows where you're from. But where are you from, sir? You want to throw that out there?
From the UK. I said a lot of the people that are probably in the channel are from the UK as well. They've followed me over.
That's awesome.
So I'm UK North. Well, I'm originally from the Northeast, but live in the Northwest now.
I love accents. I love your accent so much, so much. Aaron, Andy, did you have any questions for him? Anybody in the stream before I go on?
Well, I do, or maybe it's more of a comment. I'm really happy that you said you use C# in Unity, because that's one of the things when I first started learning Unity, I was using the JavaScript and hated it. And I couldn't figure out why things seemed so weird, because I kind of know some JavaScript beforehand, and it wasn't even straight JavaScript. And once I started I also knew some C#, so I don't know why I didn't just. I think it's because a lot of tutorials are JavaScript, and it's really frustrating. But when I started using C#, things got a lot better. So that's very cool that you're using C#.
Yeah, I mean, I want obviously the full support of the language. I'm a C# developer professionally, so it's easy to translate it over. Although there are a lot of Unity, specific things you need to learn. A lot of things that I've been trying more advanced, like things to do with polymorphism and various other things that have I've been scuppered with the way that Unity deals with them. So
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's a case of the Unity script inside Unity isn't JavaScript at all, is it? It's like a variation of ECMA.
Right.
It's not the same, and it's got a little bit of the kind of C# programmatic object oriented world, but it doesn't have loads. There's a few things like you can't access some JavaScript files while you're in C# and vice versa, but
Right.
it's a lot more. There's a lot more support in C# and.
Well, yeah, that's why I kind of find it interesting how many people seem to be using the Unity script as opposed to just C#. I don't know if it's just that they feel like it's easier syntax or just.
It's because, and I don't know this for an absolute fact because I wasn't around when Unity started, but I believe Unity script was their version, their scripting language. So like when you go in Game Maker, they've got their own language and.
Right. Yeah. Don't like that one.
And they started off like that, and they've kept support for it. I have a feeling at some point they'll cut it. I'll be honest, because
Oh, that'd be nice. I'm just.
the thing is, like, every time I see someone on Twitter posting something about JavaScript, it's not that I'm against it because I know JavaScript as well because I started in a web background.
Right.
But it just doesn't fit. It's too loose for me. I prefer tightly coupled languages. I prefer being kind of told off when I'm doing something that's not right. Something.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool.
Andy, did you have any questions before I go on?
I don't think I do. I'm kind of got lost in that.
Okay, it's okay. Aaron and Chris are just talking, and we're just like, okay, man, all
We
right.
lost viewers because we're just like.
Dropping like flies.
Chris, what inspired you to make Subnet? We see so many other games like Mirror's Edge and what are some other ones that are Thief? I mean, Thief with the hacking. I think it's with hacking, or am I thinking of the?
There's a lot of games.
He did mention Deus Ex in one of his.
Yeah.
So that kind of made me think of that then.
Oh yeah, I love Deus Ex. But yeah, what inspired you?
It's like writing a piece of music. You're gonna take influences from all your bands and all the music you've ever heard ever. You don't just focus on one thing, and you make it your own, don't you? I've taken influences obviously from Deus Ex. I was a big fan of the original. I even like the second one, which a lot of people don't like, and I love Human Revolution. So all of that kind of hacking and stealth it's kind of influenced by that. The stealth is probably going to be very similar. Cameras detecting you, people chasing you, things like that. But obviously I've added the parkour element as well, which is
I love it, man.
Mirror's Edge type thing. I played Mirror's Edge a few weeks ago just to kind of remind myself of what kind of things they did, and it is entirely different the way that it feels and plays, and I'm glad of that, I'll be honest with you, because I wasn't modelling it after it, but I was trying to get Unity to do the things I wanted it to do, and it come out like that, and it feels quite fluid.
Yeah.
But I said one of the main influences is the fact that me and the guy that I originally started it with are old school Quake and Quake 2 players, and we loved the fact that you could do trick jumps. We loved the fact that you could do you could trick the physics engine into making you jump further or jump around corners and things like that. I don't know if you've ever played any of the Quake games, but they're all kind of rife with these bugs, which the community love, the online game community love.
I love games with those kind of bugs in them.
Yeah, and we wanted to kind of get that in the game, so that's why we decided parkour. After that, that's when I thought of the story. That's when I thought of all of the background. I mean, I've got pages and pages of documents. I've got a Google Drive full of stuff that's
awesome.
Game,
Yeah.
See, I played Tribes, and I've heard that Tribes in the beginning was they didn't mean to have ski jumping, and they're like, hey, everybody loves it, let's put it in.
Well, they're bugging it up though. That's the thing. Tribes, the original, had this accidental skiing in it, which everyone, as you said, loved, but they didn't. They put buttons in for the rest of the game, and everyone was like, why can't you just leave the physics engine as it was so we could still do it as we used to do it?
Yeah.
So they've got a ski button which makes you go down a hill faster. Great, So I mean, Tribes, I used to love that. I've still got it installed actually. I used to love it back in the day, and we got in clans and stuff. But
that's awesome. I was so bad at that game. I could not ski for my life. Like honestly, I'm like, what am I doing?
I also go through a few LAN parties with my close friends, and every LAN party I want them to play Tribes. I still want them to play Tribes. Like last month when I went, and no one wants to because every single time they play it, I'm the only one who can play it.
Yeah.
Every one of the guy, you know, and everyone just gets the base is destroyed in seconds, and I just can't help it. Just love playing.
That's
Did you ever
hilarious.
play Star Wars? It's one of the KOTOR games or whatever. But there's like an online multiplayer thing you do, and you get like I think 4 people in a match, 6 people in a match, something like that. But the thing I remember about it is like so you have all your Jedi moves and stuff, and there'd be force pushing and customize all your skills. But you basically take so many skills that you couldn't be like hit by like force pushes or chokes or whatever. So it came down to people using this bug where you could spam parry and attack at the same time, and then their like lightsaber would like flutter in their hand like up and down, and they just butterfly, and they just joust at each other and hope that like the clipping would just kill one guy.
That's funny. Oh, bugs of games.
Yeah.
What platforms did you want this game on? Obviously PC. Was there anything else?
Well, you know, when we started it, I said it was a hobby, and it was just a case of can I do games programming, and then we thought, I didn't even think, in fact, even now, I don't even know what we're releasing it on. I never even thought, is it going to be a PC, Linux, Mac? I've done a Mac build for our designer, so he can play around with it, so it works in Mac. It works in PC, but eventually I'd like to I think it'll be one of those things as later down the line, we might go for, like, the console releases.
That would be sick.
One of the first things I was going to do with the game was actually the hacking was all going to be actual hacking, so you had to have a keyboard for it, and it was going to be like a command-based system. It still is, but it's now hidden by like a UI. But that wouldn't have been conducive to consoles, so I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Simple as that.
That would be sick. You could even do it like with the hacking with maybe the Kinect. That would be sick with the hand movements or something like that.
It's funny you should say that. The concept art that we've just got back in is we've got this idea of terminals. I don't know how much you've read about the game, but there's the premise of the game is it's 200 years in the future set in England, and you've got this implant, and this implant is kind of like a social network, and that's the only way people communicate these days. And one of the ways that we came up with in the concept art to control terminals and do hacking was actually put your hands into orbs and then kind of move them around to hack them. Now, I don't know if we could do anything with Kinect with that or anything. I mean, there's loads of possibilities with that, but it's you know, there's some kind of interaction with devices that's.
I could really see that with like the Oculus Rift or something like that, like parkouring with the Oculus Rift with your game. Oh my gosh, I want it now. Give it to me, Chris.
I would probably have to do a lot of work though, because I imagine it'd be a bit disorientating. You know, flipping your like that all over the place.
Someone's playing your game. Someone's just like, you know. So you kind of went into the story just talking, but yeah, what's the story of Subnet? You said it was set 200 years in England.
Only England, because you know what? Before I started the game, I thought there was no game set in England, and then I realised I'm being an idiot, and there's loads of games. I did it originally because I thought, well, let's capture the gloominess of England in the art. You know, let's put it like that. You guys are probably used to. I mean, I know you say that you're in Ohio, and you don't. You know, I've heard the jokes on the other feeds, but England is very, very squished together. You know, our roads are like your path, your sidewalks, and you know, our houses. I mean, it's a 2-bedroom house, and that's, you know, the most I can afford. It's ridiculous how small everything is. You know? Where was I going with that story? That was it. Yeah, so I was setting it in England, but it was kind of intended to. I wanted a lot of iconography in the art as well. So that's why we've got the post boxes and the phone boxes in there, and there's a few other things that we're going to slip in. We'll probably have some kind of, you know, Easter eggs or something to do with something as well in there. But I want to get Easter eggs in there, but I'm spending so much time programming real stuff that I'm like, oh, have I got time to waste on Easter eggs? You know.
What's Potato Power wanted to ask? So no Linux or no Linux only, or
I'd ignore Potato, I'll be honest with you. He's a bit mental. No, so it is going to be on Linux and Windows and Mac at the moment, because Unity supports all that out the box. I might need to do some testing, obviously, but I'll have to rely on other people for that because I don't have either a Linux or a Macbox. So.
Blondie, that's interesting. Unity Pro has a vast, easy platform version builder, one-click export ports. Boom, done.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I think there'll probably be some changes. There'll be some differences you have to make to the code, but I know there is one. But there's also a load of plugins you can get for Unity on the Unity site.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just for mobile stuff or not, but I mean I haven't really looked into the release part yet, so I don't know.
Aaron, Andy.
Yeah. Oh.
No, I'm good. I'm enjoying this.
Okay, I am too.
Yeah.
Like always, I enjoy this.
I was just gonna make a comment, kind of up there with no game set in England, but you want to be really crazy to make a game set in Canada.
Do they you're just on the street and they're playing hockey.
Well, there's like a handful of games for like Canada, and then you like find the odd like show or game, and they treat like Canada like it's like this exotic like paradise in the middle of nowhere. And I find it so odd.
That's funny. That would.
There are 4 games set in Canada.
Yeah, you can go.
No, there's actually a wiki page full of them. Mass Effect 3? Fuck, what?
No. It is.
That's
too.
a lie. Oh man.
Not right. I think a Canadian has set this page up.
Oh, man.
FIFA?
I'll look that up now.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Canada on which planet again?
I guess it is. What is it? Alright, I'm gonna read this. Keep going.
What enemies you're gonna put in the game? I watched that one dev blog where it was like it was like cylinder. I know it was just a placeholder, but like what kind of enemies are gonna be in there? Is there gonna be a like the government or like something against you?
Initially, I was going to go open world with the game, and again, that's another thing I realised. What a stupid idea! And I only realised that a few months ago. I'll be honest with you. So I've been kind of rejigging the story and rejigging the kind of ideas. I want to turn now. Keeps beeping at me. So I've been like kind of rejigging everything. The enemies are going to be PMCs. If you've played like another influence is Metal Gear Solid. In there, they've got quite a lot of PMCs in the game and private military corporations, which are kind of hired by the government because the government they've lost control essentially in this story. There's a lot of backstory and history that I've written to make it into like maybe a series at some point. And the game itself is set at one particular point in that history, so there's a lot that I don't want to tell people as well, but at the same time I'm trying to give everyone as much info as I can,
Yeah, exactly.
It's a dystopian future that's kind of oppressive essentially, and there's not going to be any guns in the game. That's something to mention. There is actually going to be, I mean, some of the enemies might have guns, but in England we don't have guns generally, and even though this is set 200 years in the future in a cyberpunk dystopia, it's not. I'm not going to have them. I'm going to keep that rule in place because I wanted to challenge myself. I'll be honest with you. Again, don't know why I decided to do that because it's going to probably take me much longer to figure out how to make the enemy interactions work well. But
that's really interesting. I like that because if you think about it, like where we're headed or what people think we're headed into is like about guns. Like the government's going to take all our guns, no more guns, and we're just going to be defenseless. Maybe like if you couldn't have the gun idea, like maybe have like a DNA like encryptor where you can't shoot the gun or something like that. That would be interesting.
That would be. I mean, they've explored that in a few other. There was a film or a game that I've played where you. Oh, that was it. District 9.
Yes.
Seen that. They did that, and the aliens could only use the guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good idea that, and to be fair, I was just going to make it so you couldn't pick the enemy's guns up. Simple as that. But that might be a good way to explain it.
Yeah.
To get it more in the game, and I like I said, I watch your dev blogs, and I love this, Chris. I love that you put it in here because it's realistic for me as a player or playing a game. I love the fact that you have an adrenaline in while you're parkouring. I freaking love that. Could you go into more of that and why did you put it in there?
Well, I put it in because that guy that's just commented in Twitch, Looster32, he's actually my original partner. Hello, Lou. How you doing? He was the one who kind of suggested it a good while back, and we were just toying with ideas, and then I just decided one night, right, let's actually see if this does work. And I did a prototype and put it together, and I kind of thought, yeah, it does work. And what I've decided to do with it is you start off with a base adrenaline. As you do parkour moves, you build up your adrenaline, and then the intention is to keep doing parkour. If you're running away from someone, there's going to be a few sections in the game where you have to run away. You have to kind of do an assault course essentially of the parkour stuff, so it takes advantage of the amount of effort that I've put into it. It doesn't take me long to put an assault course together. It's just the art, really. So yeah, it's kind of it builds up over time, and then if you run out of adrenaline, you run out of breath, and you stop, or you get tired basically and walk slower, and you get a bit of blurred vision. So it's, again, if the enemies are chasing you and you run out of adrenaline, then you've got a chance to either hide from them or, I don't know, get killed, probably. I haven't got that.
That sounds really cool, though.
I really like that. I was just saying that, I'm like, that's a great idea, and I love how when you're in the mode, your vision it's like tunnel vision, like, your adrenaline's in you and you're focused.
Again, that comes from a Quake 2 influence, because when we played Quake 2, you can change the FOV and play online multiplayer, and if you're bunny hopping around, you fly because of the FOV. So I knew that was a way to make it feel like you were going faster, but keep the physics calculations the same as they were. So I mean, you do go a little bit faster anyway, but not much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a couple of 0.1, 0.2 of a meter a second or something, and when you've got the fisheye view on, it just makes you feel like you're flying. And
that's really cool.
It's quite
You
nice.
definitely make somebody throw up with the Oculus.
Yeah, definitely. That's the news of gamer news. You're just gonna be like, Subnet makes first person throw up on virtual reality.
Known as Vomit Net.
I don't know about first.
Any publicity is good publicity.
Exactly.
And the more damage
No
it
such
makes,
thing
the
as
more
bad
better.
publicity.
How many people do you have working on Subnet right now?
We've actually just recruited another concept artist. So we've got two concept artists. We've got Eric, our prop modeler, and we've got Ray, our kind of environment designer, who's helping out as he can. It's another one of those, got a job and are looking for. He's actually just started doing indie development himself on a separate game, which I'll be spamming on my Twitter at some point. But yeah, he's on board to do environment art, and that's it. I'm doing everything else. So I basically needed art people to help out, because honestly, you should see some of the art that I've produced in Photoshop. It's highly embarrassing.
It's okay, man. I'm trying to do pixel art myself. Like, I love pixel art. I love pixel games. Pixel art is just, oh my gosh. But I'm trying to mess around with it, and there's like a video. It's like the Chinese men or something. Like, I'm just messing around with it, but it looks like garbage. It's really bad. So I understand. Aaron, do you have any questions before I go on more here? I'm gonna jump down to the next one.
So I did notice that. Oh, you can go ahead, Andy.
No. I'm still formulating my question.
Very cool. So I did notice that. This is going to be another lengthy question, but I did notice that the parkour, like, you were jumping into, or maybe climbing. I don't know what was actually going on, but you're going into a spot and you immediately crouched into it, and then when you left, like, how? When I saw that, I was like, that seems like it would be extremely difficult.
It was extremely difficult. And it's still not right. It still clips you through the ceiling occasionally. And once I flew off the other side of the map because of kind of the physics pushed me off,
It just. I see physics like that in Unity.
So I'm expecting bug reports at some point from people saying, "Oh, this is," but this is my original partner. He's got a lot more ideas about how game design works, how you do specific things. Like he's been interested in following, like, how did Assassin's Creed do their parkour? How did John Romero originally write Quake? And he's always been interested in that. Whereas I've always been interested on the outside, and I've always concentrated on doing stuff, on having a project on, if you know what I mean, not just researching. So I've always been busy my entire life, but never got to the point where I knew how to do things. Anyway, he told me basically how to do it and gave me the basic premise, and from that I've built a lot of the rest of the game from it, because it's essentially what you do is you raycast into the ledge that you're. This is getting technical, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You raycast into the ledge that you're going towards, that you want to get on top of. Once you've figured that out, you raycast a ray down onto the ledge, and then you determine if it's 90 degrees or not. Once you've determined that and you know that you can get on the ledge, you then need to cast another ray up to see if you can fit where the ledge is.
Okay.
And you cast it up depending on... well, I was casting it up and then comparing it to my crouch and prone heights. So I can now prone into a vent, or I can crouch into a vent or something like that. So it is to me now it's second nature, because I've done it for loads of things. Loads of the parkour uses raycasts and clever calculations to determine where you are. That's why it's so dynamic and you can jump on anything in the game. Whereas, you know, things like if you play games like Far Cry, they've got specific areas that you can ledge grab onto.
Right.
So that's why I've done it that way. You know, I'm sure they do it a similar way in Far Cry, but they just only allow you to do it in certain places, so they don't have to program all of the. One bug I had, I was again flying through a wall, but I basically you have to determine where the character's going to be, where they would end up, then move them to the left a little bit or to the right, depending on which side of which wall.
Right. Yeah, I think you were saying that in that one video that you were getting stuck in corners or something like that. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting too. Yeah, that's very cool. That makes a lot more sense now. It's just a lot of raycasts.
It's just knowing how to do it. Once you figure these things, well, the beauty of it is you can do anything any way you want. I mean, the lemma stuff that was on. Is it lemma? Is it pronounced lemma?
Yeah, lemma. You got
Not Lima, like.
Yeah, so his is done entirely differently, I imagine. He's probably doing raycasting, but it's a lot more rigid. You can see the way that he runs. Whereas mine uses physics to kind of push you up on a wall run. And
that's really cool.
There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of little tweaks, and there's like a tweening engine and things in there. But yeah, it's. Sorry, guys, I can witter on, as I said.
No, you're fine, man. This is we're now talking. We have plenty of time. This is all for you. This is all for the game. And everybody, Caliber, he's working on Subnet. I linked everything, and so did Blondie. So it's a parkour hack game. Pretty cool. All the stuff that I link right there, if you just do !Ninja, everything will pop up there. His website, his Twitter, his Twitch, and his YouTube. You Twitch every day.
I Twitch whenever I can, basically. At the moment, it's been most days, but I can. Sometimes it's a week, just weekends. I don't know. It depends on what I've got on in my life, you know.
I would highly suggest everyone on the stream to just go check out his dev blogs and the dev videos. They're really, really interesting, really cool. You could check out the adrenaline system. You can check out the parkouring. Really, really cool. I'm going to move on more into more into the marketing of it, because for me and other games that I've seen, marketing is definitely huge for this. And I know you're in development stages of this game, but what did you want to price this at when it's done? What do you think the price of this game would be if you're trying to do console or PC?
I haven't thought of that. I really haven't. I haven't even looked at one. I haven't even looked at similar type of games, or because as an indie developer, you can't price it at 30, 40, 50, or 70,
exactly.
Whatever the cost. It's you can't do that. And I don't know. It'd be a download, so it'd obviously be a bit cheaper anyway. I don't know. I really don't know. I haven't even thought of it. I can't really answer that.
I could honestly see your game being 20. It sounds really,
That's exactly
really cool.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, $20 would be probably a great price. Everything you're talking about and just the parkouring, there need to be more parkouring games, and I'm glad you, Evan, are making these because I want them really bad.
A few cool 2D ones as well recently. I don't know the names of them, but there's a few they're just mobile ones where you tap it to jump and do particular moves. But they look cool, they've got good animations.
Yeah.
So
Mark of the Ninja is a really good one.
Oh yeah, I need to get that.
It's okay.
Oh, thank you.
I like it.
So
I like it.
I noticed that you told me before we started to stream that you've just gotten into Twitter. where have you marketed besides Twitter? Was there like Facebook? Like I talked to Evan last week, and like Facebook is kind of like, you know, they're your friends and family, and that's it. But was there anything else that you put this on? It's okay.
It's all a blur, I'll be honest with you. I probably started out putting it on forums, Unity forums.
Uh-huh.
I was looking for help before I was actually doing any kind of marketing or advertising, and I don't feel like I'm doing any of that now either. I'm still looking for people. I'm still prototyping, so I'm not really. It's nice that I'm getting interest, but it seems to be it's more from developers, you know, at this moment. It's not from gamers really. I've had a few gamers really interested, but they tend to be more about the, you know, indie gamers, if you know what I mean, that focus on it. But I mean, I've posted on conceptart.org a few times. I've posted on Reddit a few times with the dev blog, but I'll be honest with you, Reddit confuses me. And
Me too.
Yeah.
There was this really good hashtag, Screenshot Sundays Evan was talking about, and like you can post on there. I guess a bunch of people and journalists, game journalists, look up Screenshot Sunday, I guess, and you know they check. Yeah, was it Screenshot Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah, it's Screenshot Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
I've posted a few things on there, mostly comical. Like I was doing some Foley sounds for the parkour, and I had a brick.
Yeah.
And I was a brick and a shoe basically, and I was just, you know, doing that on my mic. You'd be amazed how many retweets you get just from someone just doing something stupid like that.
That's hilarious, man.
Most of the stuff has just been every tweet that relates to the game. I've been hashtagging with game dev on Twitter. I've been posting bits and bobs on Google, but I mean, whenever I post a dev blog, as I said, I'm a developer anyway, so I've developed the website as well, and that posts to Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and everything. Well, another one as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but yeah, it posts automatically the dev blogs. Oh, Google, that's it. But yeah, awesome. I haven't really done much else.
Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
I just said that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Dude, I could see so many people like throwing money at you for this. Did you ever think of Kickstarter or Indiegogo? I mean, Indiegogo more because if you didn't get your goal, they would still give it to you. Kickstarter's like, you didn't get your goal, screw you. You don't get any money.
I haven't looked into it that much. I do know that Kickstarter requires a lot. I mean, I've looked into Kickstarter, like the rules and that. I've looked into it in the aspect of, is this a possibility in the future? Because I've had quite a few people who've come along and wanted to get involved, but they want paying for it.
Yeah.
And they say, well, when you get some funds, then, you know, you'll do well on Kickstarter. So when you get some funds, come back to me. And it's a little bit like, well, that's not really what this is about. You know, it's more about enjoying doing something together. And luckily, out of the people that I've got on board, I've really found people who are really interested in it, you know, and got involved, and they've got themselves into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, eventually we might go for funding. We'll see how it goes. If the quality of the demo that we're producing is terrible, then yes, we'll definitely go for funding. I will definitely hire animators and character artists, possibly more environment artists, because it's quite a big game. There's quite a lot involved in the story.
There's a question in the chat. It says, "All right for a brew, husband?"
Yes, please, darling. I'll have a brew.
Oh man, that's
I do
funny.
really, really need to go to the toilet at the moment, so I'm not sure it's a good idea.
Oh man, that's funny. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was good. I didn't even see that, Aaron. How about a Steam Greenlight? Were you thinking about that?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously everyone's behind Valve, I think, in the gaming community. They're one of the good guys, you know. So I think it's a definite, definitely.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to look at that for a good while yet.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you because I asked Scott this Tuesday about his game Ronnie. How was gamers or people coming to your game, not programmers or artists, just coming to your game and like, hey, this is awesome? Did you get any negative feedback? Because Scott had some negative feedback.
Yeah.
The most negative I've had. Thank you. There you go.
T,
Real
yes.
live.
Woohoo!
Dang, she disappeared.
Sorry, can you just ask that question again?
Yeah, no. Yeah. Did you have any negative feedback from gamers or the community of gaming community just all around? Did anybody come to you and like haggle you? Because I know a lot of people and gamers, they don't understand devs, and they kind of jump on them like, hey, you're not doing it this way, and you're like, hey, whoa, this is my game, you should calm down.
Yeah, well, I am very straight talking. I don't know if that's come across or not, but I'm very. I ramble a bit, as I said, but I don't. I do tell people what I think and everything, so I don't really put up with anything.
Yeah.
I can't think of any negative criticism at the moment. I've had a few people who've like criticised or asked questions like of things that I've half implemented or I haven't fully finished yet that have been a bit critical, but I haven't taken it negatively. You know, it's just been like, for example, before I put the mantling in, the vaulting, or in fact I'd just disabled it for one demo because it wasn't quite right, and one commented on it and said, well, why is there no mantle in it? Every game's got mantling in it, you know. It's like great. But that's the only thing.
Yeah, because Scott, he had trouble with people saying like, you don't know how to do shit, you know, you're garbage, like get out of here. And I'm like, damn, dude, just calm down. You don't understand how much work you have to put into a game. And even gamers that I've talked to in my gaming community, they the gamers are harsh, so harsh. They need to tone it down.
Yeah, and I'm very prepared for it. I've run, as I said, I've always had a project on, and I've had many projects where I've been at the front of it and I've been a public face, and I've had a lot of criticism from the way that I run things, such as, for example, running forums. And you get all kinds of stuff from that, and I've had people around my house knocking on the door threatening me and stuff from banning them from a forum, you know.
Oh my god, dude!
It sounds crazy, but it does happen. So I'm used to it. It makes you feel a bit bad for a minute, but then it's like, well, who cares? Who are you? You know what's your opinion matter to me?
Exactly.
I don't really. I've got better things to do than worry about. I'd rather program my game and enjoy myself, you know, than worry about what you're.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to interrupt. You'll like this. Nightbot just timed out Corpinator for spamming caps.
Sorry, Corp. Oh man, that's funny. Oh man, I have to really fix that. I'm sorry, guys. Like we're this is new to all of us, so we're just trying. I'm trying new things for the channel. So Corpinator, I'm sorry, my good sir. That's funny. And yeah, Chris, like I said, that's nuts, and it's just not called for. You know, you think humans or people would be not do that. You think they would have like morals and be like, hey, it's just a game, but obviously they don't. Oh,
we got another super serious question.
Here's super serious.
Feed. It says, is it possible to have the hacking part be a Minesweeper game?
No one would ever get past the first one.
Yeah, right. What the fuck?
He wanted it to be something to do with goats the other day. He's a strange man, that lad. But yeah, I'll put a Minesweeper game in just for him, and that'll be one of the Easter eggs.
That would
I promise.
be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be cool.
You know what it'll do though? It'll shut the game down, lose your save, and open up my Minesweeper on your computer.
Oh man, that's funny.
Another question. Are you going for that, Drez?
Oh no, go for it.
Looster32 asked, could you talk a little about the choice of engine? With the myriad of FPS engines out there, what made you choose to stick with Unity?
He did.
He did.
Essentially, it was the C# thing. It was the fact that Unity did C# and it did JavaScript, and when I noticed that it did all of the platform releases, and I looked into that and tried a few little experiments out, I just thought, this is perfect for me. The only thing that put me off getting into game dev is the fact that I would have had to learn C++ or Lua or some other language that wasn't part of my day job, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason that I'm with Unity. But I now love Unity. You know, it's a brilliant tool.
Oh, that's cool.
I would have went for. I mean, I love the look of Unreal Engine, for example.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have that $19 a month thing going on at the time, which is it's amazing. You know, I probably would have started with that if that was around then. maybe, I don't know. Again, I think you have to program in some other scripting language, Python possibly or something like that. But I thought it's a quick way to get into it, isn't it? If you already know something, you use it, you know.
Oh,
I want to jump into the artwork because I love the concept artwork, Chris. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna pop this up. This is the main concept one, or that I've seen. Is not to give too much away. Is this enemy or is this the person that you're gonna be playing as? And he looks so sick, by the way. He kind of looks like his shirt looks like Tron a little bit.
I think I'm gonna have to get the feed up. I haven't got it up, but yeah, he's that'll be Byron. That'll be the protagonist.
And I like
we're not hiding that fact at the moment, but it was something. It was the first bit of concept art we did, so it was kind of get it out there and get people buzzing about it a little bit. That's the only reason it's out, really.
Yeah, I really like the concept art, man. This is like even his getup and everything like that. It's so sick, and there's
obviously a reason behind his two different uniforms, but I'll leave that until you play the game.
Oh, interesting.
First thing I noticed about it is the main character also has a beard.
Yeah, it is me.
It's you.
He's also into metal music, and you know, he doesn't have a wife that brings him brews.
That's why he's so angry.
Things about the future there.
Oh man, Chris, this is I love this, and this reminds me of Blade Runner and DSX, everything put together. I loved this picture. It's the landscape or the picture of the city, I think. It has can you explain that? Like I'm just blown away by that.
I was as well when I got it, and I am by the recent concept art that the same guy sent me for the office level that we're working on. I wish I could show you it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep that, I think. I might.
Dang it, Chris.
I might release it. I don't know, because the buzz is dying down a bit on Twitter, so I might get it out there. Yeah, the concept art. Again, the process has been very collaborative with that. Alex, the guy who's doing it, he's actually the only person in the project that I pay. I pay him like a commission based on each piece of art that he does. The reason I did that is because at the time, I mean, I've got no artistic skills. I couldn't like figure out how to even get near that. You know, I can draw like a stickman and that, and so it's a case of. I gave him the ideas about the world. I gave him the background documents. I gave him the history, and I gave him like the story of what's going on. He went off and did a mood board, and then we kind of just bounced off each other. He did some thumbnails of. He does the same with everything, every kind of thing. So I had like 20 thumbnails of the character before I chose the right shape. Then we went into more detail, and that's why I paid for it, because I like the fact that he's visualizing my ideas.
That's awesome.
The way that I want them to be visualized. It's obviously all of the skill is him. I don't take any credit from him because he's absolutely brilliant.
What started his name?
Sorry, he's called Alex Thomas. I'll post his Twitter on.
Yeah. This artwork is I'm blown away because I see in the background, I see like this glass structure, and then I'm looking at it more, and I'm like, is this like the ghetto of the city? Because you see that the buildings are kind of broken down and stuff like that. I love dystopian like future.
Well, I can tell you what the difference is between. There's two different parts of the world.
Okay.
There's the suburb, which is England as it is now. A little bit more technology, but it's been left, and it's just disgusting. You know, rubbish everywhere, homeless people around. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a slum because people live there still, but it's kind of
the shady part.
It's run down. The government aren't looking after it anymore. That's the idea of that. Now, the intention was to have a central like city that was modern, that was crisp, clean. A lot more technologically advanced. All the big corporations live there, and now that is going to be above the platform that you called it. Oh no, hang on, you were talking about the glass thing, the blue thing in the middle, weren't you?
Yeah, back there, huh?
That's just background at the moment. We haven't got any idea for that. But the platforms or the big columns, that's actually a platform where the rest of the city is going to live.
Oh.
So that's going to be all of the new stuff. So again, England is highly populated. It's at the moment we struggle for space in towns and cities. You know, it's like it's not exactly it's not the slum in Africa or anything like that. You know, it's very, very densely populated. So I wanted to capture that, but I also wanted the technology of like the future, and I wanted to make sure that was we couldn't have had like a really cool looking office in that slum. So that's why this platform appeared. That was actually Alex's idea, the platform. He drew some concepts with some the columns were his idea. He drew some concepts with columns, and I went, oh, I like them. And I thought about it a bit, and I thought, oh, maybe we could have a platform. Then I thought, is it Final Fantasy VII too much? You know, is it Midgard? and it was kind of, and I thought, you know what, I don't care, because the stealth is Deus Ex, the cameras are Deus Ex and Metal Gear Solid, and the parkour's a little bit, who cares? Just throw it in there, bugger it. But now it's given me a great opportunity in the story to separate everything, and it's, instead of going to different cities like you would in a game like Deus Ex, where you're in China one minute and you're in the Middle East, sorry, and you're you move from around New York and Chicago and all that stuff. That I just wanted to do it all in one city, and there's a reason for that in the story as well. There's a good kind of wrapping in it. I'm making it sound a lot more organized than it is, but all of the ideas are in my head.
It sounds it sounds so sick, dude. Like I look at that at the picture and you're explaining it, and I'm like, this sounds like a badass game. I'm excited. I want it now. It's does Aaron, Andy, do you have any other questions for him before we close it out? One more question for himself.
I was just going to comment, and I meant to comment on this the other day with Scott's stream, but I mean, like the way, especially because I'm in the music program at my university, so we'd look at a lot of art and like music as an art form and stuff, and when you look at especially indie games nowadays, it truly is an art form. Like you take all your influences, everything you grew up with, everything you liked, even things you didn't like, and you cram into this creation that you design, and it's just multifaceted because you've got visuals, you've got free space, you've got story, it's all these different things. It's crazy how it's basically just a really complex art form. It's really cool.
Yeah, so was there a question there? Or?
No, really, just a comment. You can comment on my comment.
No, yeah, I mean, in terms of the music, it was one of those things that, again, too many people don't think about early on. The same goes for the sound design. I'm putting a lot of time into all of the network devices and stuff in the game. They've all got individual sounds that happen at particular times, depending. It's all configurable and stuff. So there's placeholders in there at the moment, but I'll be designing the sound as I go along. In terms of the music, I was actually speaking to a composer recently, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And he was really, really good. But the problem is is it going to be personal anymore? Am I going to be getting my influences in there? Is it going to be just another soundtrack? I mean, it's not that I didn't think he could do it. I definitely think he could. It was just that I kind of want to do it,
Yeah,
I know a fair amount about music. I've run a recording studio previously, and I really wanted to get it. I actually got a keyboard for controlling MIDI and Cubase and that, just so I can try and start playing around with it. I'm used to recording bands and analog stuff, voiceovers, anything that's through a mic. So I'm not used to programming music, so that's going to be a completely new experience to me.
Yeah, I'm stuck on that as well a bit too, as far as from scratch, is basically what it comes to be.
And I've done a little bit, but not much. And I know roughly how to use Reason, and I know how to roughly program a MIDI track, but that's about it.
Do you find yourself you'll be kind of, because I know it's even with this game I'll be kind of trying design sounds, find synths and then shape stuff, and then I was kind of start giving up and how can I just find something to make the sound, stick a mic on it and give it a whack and just be done with it.
Well, as I said, I had that brick and a trainer. So I was apart from that, I've not really done much custom stuff. I've been grabbing stuff off free sounds for now, only because I wanted just something to work, just while I do the programming and get the problems out of the way. Then I'll start thinking about, right, this office, how does it feel? What's the lift going to make? What sounds the lift going to make? At the moment, it sounds like it's hovering, and it needs a bit more thought put into it. But I mean, I'll try and do some Foley myself, and I've still got all my recording equipment from the studio, so I've got a good resource. It's just that I haven't got a studio anymore, unfortunately, so I have to do everything at home.
Yeah, I'm on the other end of that, starting to build up my collection of stuff to record.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And it's brilliant. I love gear. I'm a proper gear slut when it comes to it.
That's awesome. Aaron, any questions for him, sir?
No, I'm good. I asked some big ones earlier.
Some big ones.
took enough of everyone's time.
It's okay. Chris, first of all, for the like 10 million time I've told you, thank you for being on the show. And I always want to ask this to every dev, for other devs. What would you tell other indie devs making a game?
Making or wanting to make a game?
Yeah.
There's a distinction, isn't there?
There is.
So if they're making a game, just keep at it. Simple as that. You know, if you've got an idea, go for it. You know, the only way that you're ever going to get anywhere, and I've learned this in every aspect of my life, is to just do it yourself as well. Don't, you know, try and figure out what you're doing. Don't just copy and paste everything, you know. Make sure that you're understanding what you're doing, so you're learning off your experiences. Otherwise, you know, information is the fruit of life, isn't it?
Definitely. I agree 100%.
Sorry to end it on that, but, you know.
No, dude, that's perfect. I always love to ask that question because I want to know what the dev says, and like it's all positive. So I think you're right. Like as long as you go for it and, you know, you learn, you know, sky's the limit. Sky's the limit.
Your imagination's the limit, yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys want to, if you guys want, you guys all should follow. I'm gonna put in the chat again, exclamation ninja. That's all his information. The website, his Twitter, his YouTube, everything right there. Make sure you go follow him. Keep up with this game. Would really appreciate if you guys would follow us. If you guys like the show, we'll have some other indie devs like this. Chris, you're more than welcome to come on the show anytime you want. I've had a blast, my good sir. I've had a blast. And I'm pretty sure.
As long as I haven't bored you to death, because I tend to bore people a bit.
It's dude, no, not bored us.
Not at
not
all.
at all.
Not at all. Could keep going this for hours, I think.
Everybody on the stream, I really appreciate you jumping on here. Blondie, Caliber, Chimp, Looster, Corpiner, I don't know if you're still there. Everyone, thank you. You've helped us so much. Just follow the Twitter, the Twitch. I can't thank you enough. This is going really, really well. I'm glad you guys all like this. But I think that'll do it for today's episode of What's in the Box. Thank you again, Aaron, Andy, Chris. Thank you for coming. My name's T-Rez. Guys, take it easy, and we'll have this podcast up for you, okay? So, yeah, take it easy. Thank you for the follow.
Bye.
Bye.